going on, everybody? This is Neil Bill Piano. Welcome back. This is episode 2 of the MVP show. We got a lot to cover today, so let's get to it. The first thing we're going to go over is the Major League Baseball playoffs are underway. And the first series we're going to look at is between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers. The Rangers have done what a lot of people thought was impossible. Take both games in Toronto and now head back to Texas for games 3, 4, and 5, with needing just one more win to move on to the American League Championship Series. Personally, I believe the series is over. I can see the Blue Jays maybe winning a game or two, but I definitely cannot see them moving on. They do not look like they are ready for this long run that they're expected to make, and I think that they're just a one-year wonder, to be honest. The next series to look at in the National League is between the New York Mets and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Mets took Game 1 in surprising fashion, and last night the Dodgers were able to tie the series, and now Games 3, 4, and 5 will be played at Citi Field in New York. I still think the Dodgers are going to come away with a victory. I think that they're going to take 2 out of 3. I'm expecting the series to go 5. I think the Mets will be able to, push the Dodgers to the limit, but I think the Dodgers are just better than the Mets, and I think that they're going to move on. Next series, let's go to Kansas City versus Houston. The Astros, just like the Mets, took Game 1 on the road, but the Kansas City Royals, late in Game 2, were able to come away with the victory and avoid going to Houston, down 2-0, one loss away from being eliminated. I think Houston actually is going to win this series. I think they have so much momentum, beating the Yankees on the road, beating the Royals on the road. I think that this is going to be a very quick series. I can expect the Astros to take both games 3 and 4 and move on to the American League Championship Series against the Rangers. With regards to the other National League games, we have the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals were able to do what they were supposed to do and get Game 1. Unfortunately, they blew it up in Game 2. The Cubs came out and just blew the doors off the Cards and were able to take Game 2 in convincing fashion. I actually think the Cubs are going to win this series. I think that they were able to do what they were supposed to do and get at least 1 of 2 games in St. Louis, and I think that they're going to be able to find a way to take 2 out of 3, at least in Chicago, and move on to the National League Championship Series. Next thing I want to talk about is Week 5 of the NFL season. There are a lot of games going on today, including later on tonight at 8 o'clock between the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers on NBC. So that's Sunday Night Football. Big matchup. Big chance for the Giants to win their 3rd in a row and move up in the NFC East. But I don't want to talk about any of these games today. What I want to talk about is what happened earlier in the week. New York Jets cornerback Antonio Cromartie quoted in a newspaper that he calls Odell Beckham a one-year wonder. I think that is absolutely 100% not true. I think Odell Beckham is going to be one of the most consistent receivers in the NFL. I think he can easily become better than Calvin Johnson. I'm not saying he's going to end up becoming like the greatest receiver of all time, but I think Odell Beckham is going to be a great receiver in the NFL for years to come. With regards to what Cromartie said, he, obviously he's had experience playing in the NFL. He's seen a lot of young receivers come in, have some good years, and then just not tail off. But I think Odell Beckham's different than this. I think all the hype is perfect. I think that he is definitely going to be a great receiver, Odell Beckham. And for Cromartie, I think he's a little jealous that the Jets don't have somebody like him. Now, obviously, not trying to anger any Jets fans. Brandon Marshall is one hell of a receiver. I will give you that. But he's definitely not Odell Beckham. He doesn't have the hands like Odell. He doesn't have the speed like Odell. That's just my opinion. That's just coming from me. There's obviously other people that might agree with me. There's others that not. And, I wouldn't be surprised if I get a lot of comments about that. But in my opinion, Odell Beckham is going to be a great receiver. I don't think he's going to be a one-year wonder. And I think that Antonio Cromartie should focus a little bit more on his team and not other teams. Now on to hockey. The NHL season is finally underway, as every team in the league has started their season and have now played a few games. Talking about the local teams, the Rangers have played 3 games so far and have won all 3, including their home opener last night against the Blue Jackets. So they're off to a very good start. The Islanders, they opened up with their new stadium, the Barclays Center. Didn't have a great start, obviously losing in overtime, but it's okay. It's still early in the year. And we have the New Jersey Devils, who are starting with a bunch of new players, a new coach, a new GM, a lot of new things. And so far, they've kind of struggled, losing 3-1 to the Winnipeg Jets 2 nights ago in their home opener, and then losing last night to the Washington Capitals 5-3. Now let's first talk about the Rangers. The Rangers, I'm not surprised they're off to a fast start. They normally do this. And I think that they're going to be one of the better teams in the NHL this year, and I could definitely see them making the playoffs. With regards to going on to the Stanley Cup Finals and winning it, I think they're going to need a little bit more defense. I think that, they have some really good defensemen in Ryan McDonough and Keith Yandle and a few others, but I think they need to get one more defenseman. It could be a guy from the minors, it could be a guy in trade deadline, but I think if they could just build a little bit more defense to help out with goaltender Henrik Lundqvist, I think they could be a serious contender to win it all. With regards to the Islanders, obviously, I don't really know the expectations for them. My expectations are I think that they will make the playoffs, and I actually think I could see them making the long run too. Maybe the Rangers and Islanders face each other in the conference finals. I think a lot of people around around my area, and definitely in some other parts of the United States, would definitely like to see that one of the old rivalries in hockey. Now let's talk about the New Jersey Devils again. Obviously, they're the home team. They're still the only big professional sports team that's located in New Jersey besides the Jets and the Giants, but that's besides the point. The Devils are off to a slow start. Like I said, they're 0-2. They haven't gotten a point yet. They haven't gotten a win yet. But it's still early in the year. There's still 80 games left in the year. Personally, I would just like to see them in the playoffs, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be another year or two before they can really start competing to get into the playoffs, and it's going to take a few more years after that just to stay competitive and try to go back to the Stanley Cup Finals. Because remember, for all the Devils fans out there, the last time the Devils made the playoffs was losing Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals to the Los Angeles Kings. I'm just hoping that this new system that the Devils are bringing in will eventually work with new guys, and they just need more scoring. That's the problem. They need more scoring. They've scored a total of 4 goals and give up a total of 8. Defense and goaltending is not the problem. They need a goal scorer like they had with Ilya Kovalchuk and Zach Parise back in 2012. If they could find a couple of guys like that on this team, maybe even a trade deadline or draft, that would be perfect. Then they could really make some noise. The last thing I want to talk about is college football. Obviously, now we're 6 weeks into it, so now we're halfway through the season. One game in particular I want to look at for this last week was between Michigan State and Rutgers. Michigan State came in as the number 4 team in the country after dropping 2 ranks because of only their 3-point victory over the Purdue Boilermakers. Rutgers comes in and they're coming off a couple of tough losses. They were able to get a win 2 weeks ago against Kansas to help boost their confidence, but they've been definitely hurt by some of the things that have gone on with their head coach and their star wide receiver, Deontay Peru, who was admitted back to the team this week and came in and caught 3 touchdown passes. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And Michigan State was able to survive and hold on for a 31-24 victory. The thing that surprised me the most was the way the game ended. Rutgers had the ball and they were driving. And all of a sudden, they got a sack and they had to hurry up and try to spike the ball. Unfortunately, what quarterback Chris Laviano for Rutgers didn't realize that it was 4th down. He spiked the ball on 4th down, ending the game. It was a turnover on downs with 3 seconds left and the game was over. And I felt really bad for him because it was such a tough way to lose the game. And I understand, when the emotions are high, sometimes we don't think very clearly. We don't realize at times what we're doing. But nonetheless, Rutgers got the loss, and they have continued to struggle, but their head coach, Kyle Flood, is coming back next week after suspension. Now, whether or not he'll be the coach next year after all this is over, we'll have to wait and see. But going back, let's look at it from let's look at college football from the entire country. I don't really agree with the Final Four. I don't agree with Ohio State being number one, TCU and Baylor. They haven't played anybody yet. Obviously, they're going to play each other later on in the year, but they haven't played anybody. And I really don't like the fact that some of these college football committee guys love seeing blowouts and don't like close games. I think close games are more fun. Blowouts are just they're boring. They're just boring. That's all you can say. And the fact that Ohio State in the last two games has won and hasn't won by a lot and it still remained number one is ridiculous to me. I think Michigan State should be number two. Now, obviously, they're probably not going to. I wouldn't even be surprised if they dropped out of the top four because of their 7-point win over Rutgers, a team that's definitely strong. But in my opinion, here's my final. Number one should be Ohio State. I definitely, as I just said, I think that, people love to see Ohio State, and I think that they should stay there. They're undefeated, but the real test is going to be when they play Michigan State at home. It's definitely going to be a big matchup. It's going to see who's going to be one of those two teams that's going to come out and play in the Big Ten championship game, and maybe even one of those two teams might get knocked out of the Final Four. Number two should be Michigan State. Michigan State is clearly better than both TCU and Baylor. I think that's a joke that they're both in. I understand they're trying to keep the Big 12 in it because they got screwed last year, but I still think that Michigan State's better than them. Number three is Utah. I think Utah is one of the most surprising positive stories of the year coming out of the Pac-12. I think it's great that another Pac-12 team is coming in and making some noise and really competing for a national championship. Finally, my number four should be TCU. I still think a Big 12 team should be in this, and I think TCU is better than Baylor, and I think they're going to prove it in a couple weeks when they play them. And I think TCU is definitely a good team. I can see them maybe even going to the national championship game, but we'll have to wait and see. Thank you guys very much for watching this episode. I'm really excited to continue my new show, and I'm going to continue to try to make videos as soon as possible. I apologize for the long delay, but I've had some things going on the last couple of days that have prevented me from making videos at a different time. But one thing I want to say before I go is I want to send a special shout out to my high school, Red Bank Regional, and their football team. They're 5-0, and they're going to their big matchup against their rivals, and it's definitely looking like it's going to be a matchup of who's going to come out of that division and possibly compete for a state championship. So once again, a big shout out to Red Bank Regional Buccaneers, and I hope they win. And I cannot wait to see you guys next time. Peace.